Hello and welcome. One second here. I am just going to get this started on Facebook and we will get started. But this is the Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things podcast. We've got a very special guest. Let me just get this started here. Welcome to the Ordinary People Do Extraordinary Things podcast. I'm your host, Michael Isguera, and I'm the founder of MBE Learning. MBE Learning is a safe place where you can connect with people to learn how to unlock the power of your mind, your body, your emotions, and spirit. And I'm simulcasting right now on both Facebook and YouTube. So I apologize. Our guest, I'll do an introduction later on. His name is Eddie. I'm going to be speaking to him on Facebook, which is just above the camera here on YouTube. So I apologize, YouTube. You get this awkward view of me, and you only get to see my face, but you'll be able to hear Eddie and myself converse. So let me just bring him on here. Hopefully he's in. Let me just see. 1 second here. Okay, let's see. Eddie, is that you in the live? Because if that is, I'm not able to see you. Where's the chat? Let me bring up the chat here. Where's the chat? Oh, here. Eddie, is that you? Let me know in the chat because I'm not able to see you. I don't know if you can hear me, but hello, chat. And yes. Oh, he's on here. Okay. Not sure why you're not showing up on my viewers list. So maybe try and exit and then come back in, if you don't mind. Oops. 1 second here. Push some buttons. Get this going. That's the beauty of lives. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. So, and you're forced to awkwardly fill time as you're trying to troubleshoot things. Eddie, were you able to exit and then come back in? Oops. Oh, let me just type it here. To come back in. Oh yeah, okay. Then why does it allow your viewers to join? Does it give you an option to request to join? Because I'm pretty sure that button is on. Allow your viewers to request to join. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, Eddie, but you're not showing up on my my view list. So see if you could request to join. So what's this option here? Oh, that's what it is. Oh. And I apologize, YouTube land. You're getting an awesome view up my nose right now. I'm pretty sure I cleaned it this morning, though, so you should be okay. Don't see the option. Well, that makes things awkward. What shall we do? Let me see here. No option. I guess you're on your. Hold on 1 sec. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Oops. What is that? What did I just do? Oh. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Click. Are you on your camera, Eddie? Maybe try with your phone and see what happens. I don't know if that. Darn, maybe we should have tested. We were totally going back and forth about testing going live. I was thinking, no, we'll be fine. Thought I've done this a couple times, but practice makes for progress. There's no option to join. Okay. Oh, here, you popped up. Never mind. Don't worry about it, Eddie. I don't know if you're on. Okay, here, I'm adding you, Eddie. Yeah, there we go. All right, he's just coming online, so let's give it a minute here. Can I make this angle better where you're not looking directly at my nose? Apologies, YouTube. Okay, Eddie, if you can hear me, it says that it's just adding. And thank you for hanging tight. We are just waiting for Eddie's camera to load, and we will get started. Well, that gives me time to prepare a little bit more because I didn't plan on writing notes, but I did anyway, just in case. Yeah, there he is. What's up? What's up? Welcome. Well, I'm gonna do the intro again, and then we'll get started. So, welcome everybody. We are getting started here. This is the Ordinary People Do Extraordinary Things podcast. I'm your host, Michael Esguerra, founder of MB Learning. You can learn more about MB Learning at mblearning.com. But today we've got a very, very, very special guest. He's a videographer. He's worked with House, Nike, MLSE, Team Canada basketball. He also does model shoots, films, conferences. He did mine, by the way. I'll link it up somewhere so that you guys can check it out. He does weddings and more. And you can see more of his work on Instagram at eddie.cam. And he's an ordinary person who managed to quit his full-time 9-to-5 to do what he loves to do full-time. So please help me in giving a warm welcome to an extraordinary videographer and my cousin, Eddie Cristobal. Light it up, give this video a like, drop some emojis in the chat, and give it up for Eddie. Welcome to the show, Eddie. Oh, you froze. I was wondering, I was like, yo, is he that stunned? Oh, here we go. He's trying to request again. There we go. I hope you got to hear that intro, because man, I was. Did you get to hear my intro? I got a little bit of it. Well, officially, welcome to the show. You know what? Before I dive into questions, I just want to share that, man, I've been rattling. This idea of having a podcast has been rattling in my mind for the past couple of years, like since I started MB Learning in 2018. And you were one of the people that had just, over the years, just kept giving me nudges like, hey, man, you should start a podcast. You should start a podcast. And in December, the last time we spoke, you're like that was the final nudge for me. You're just like, dude, you need to start a podcast. And I'm like, cuz you're so right. And so I committed. I was like, I'm going to start it before June of this year. Like 2021 is the year. I'm going to start a podcast with one caveat, that you are the first guest. And here we are.
Right. Yeah. Because we just had a conversation. It felt like a podcast because we were just bouncing back and forth. I was like, this would have been awesome if this was like a recorded podcast. Because a lot of people would have taken some of what we spoke about and taken some of that advice and kind of inspiration, right? And so, like, yeah, I'm glad to be part of your first episode. And I'm looking forward to watching many more and seeing your guest count grow. And seeing the podcast grow, So yeah, man, I'm glad it came to fruition.
Awesome, man. No, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Me too, man. And just a quick check, like on YouTube here, if you let me know if you can or cannot hear Eddie, because I want to make sure that it's a good experience for you on YouTube as well, not just looking at my nostrils here. But man, tell us more, man. Tell us more about a little bit more about who you are, and just like a brief overview of your work experience.
Yeah, so my name is Eddie. I'm based out of Toronto. I'm a videographer. I've been doing it, as a hobby since high school. I'll get I'll get into the story of that. But I've been doing this professionally about 3 years now. I was just working in corporate gig or the corporate world for about a decade. Picked up the camera again and fell in love. I fell in love with it because I fell in love with it back in high school. Got my dreams crushed. Worked the typical 9 to 5, worked the corporate ladder. Like how everyone else does. But picked up the camera and I was like, man, like I miss this feeling, and here we are.
Yeah. So like you say that you got your dreams crushed, like in high school or maybe shortly after high school. Like what do you think it was that crushed your dreams?
It wasn't really. It was more so timing, I guess. Because when I realized that I wanted to get into video production or the video world, it was a little too late for me, or I guess at that time it was too late because everyone in high school already got accepted to where they were supposed to go to school. I got accepted to computer programming, but it was like my last semester near the end of the year, and I told my teacher, I was like, hey man, like I want to do this, like I want to go to Sheridan, which is a school in Mississauga that like specializes in like video production, media arts, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, your work's amazing, but like it's a little too late because like everyone applied to everywhere and you got accepted. Like you have to take a year off, build your portfolio, and then apply, and then you most likely get in. And at that time, us having Asian parents, it's like we can't take a year off. Like that's blasphemy. So I just stuck to going to college and working the corporate ladder. It wasn't really crushed. It's just the timing. So I didn't really, I was like, okay, well, there goes that idea of a career. And then a decade later, I was just like, fuck. Like when I picked up the camera and I started like shooting, and like YouTube University had so many more resources. So everything I learned off there, I applied and just kept learning and getting better to shoot. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like it's never too late, right? So they say follow your dreams, and I think it was in high school or even in grade school. My teacher was like, you know what, like, you guys are young now, but you might not know what you want to be until you're like in your 30s or even your 40s, because you'll see a lot of people they want to be a doctor because their parents made them become a doctor, and then they find their passion and end up not being a doctor anymore and doing what they want to be in the first place, right? So it's kind of that kind of story,
Oh, that hits my soul so hard because like I'm all about that. I'm all about like finding your purpose or just like finding what you love and doing what you love. And if it is true that you don't really like find it until you're 30, like what a like weird society that we live in, that when we're 18 and we graduate high school, we're forced to make a decision at that time and then go to school. Like that's the societal norm. But man, that's like 12 years before we even like kind of hit our peak in terms of like what we want, what we know we want to do. We haven't tasted enough, I think is what it is, right?
Agreed. Yeah, we haven't experienced life. We haven't matured really. So how are we supposed to know that you want to be a firefighter at like 18 or whatever? Because I think once you go through life's cycle, you realize, okay, like I'm maturing, I've experienced this, and you realize what you're good at and what you're not, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and it's like, maybe I'm good as a car salesman, maybe I'm good as a doctor, maybe I'm good at doing this. Like, you don't have to, like I tell people, like, you don't have to know what you want to be, like, before you graduate high school. You might not know that until like your 30s or 40s or even 50s.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people started late because they switched careers and then they ended up being successful because that's their true passion, right? Like, you can go through life. Like a lot of people get complacent, and it's like I see it all the time. Like especially corporate world, my old coworkers, I see it all the time. They will die at that job just because the money's consistent, but it's not what they love. It's not what they love. It's not what they want to do, and they're miserable.
Yeah.
They're it pays the bills and whatever, but that's not. I could see that they're not happy. It's like the vicious cycle of 9 to 5. Like they work for the weekends, and just basically be miserable at work and basically live 2 days out of the 7 days a week. And add that up, like, come on, like, is that really like the happiness that you're looking for, like out of life. Like, you know, we spend too much time working and not enough living and enjoying and following our passions, right?
Absolutely. There was a quote that I saw. It was, do what you love or learn to love what you do, and you add 5 days to your week.
Oh, I love that. I love that quote. Yeah, I love that quote.
There's a request here. I don't know if it's showing up for you, Eddie, but I don't know. Maybe you're not showing up very well. But are you able to like maybe move your camera a little bit down?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can see you. So so what made you like you obviously put the camera down and then you did the whole corporate gig. What made you pick up the camera again? Oh, why is that? Yeah.
Basically, so what made me pick up the camera was, you know, so would she like I gifted her like I guess when you get married, you're supposed to gift like your wife something. So like I gifted her like a DSLR, right? So she ended up using it for a little bit, but not like as much as we thought. So she's like, yeah, you know, you could sell it. I was like, all right, cool. Like if you're not gonna use it, I'm gonna sell it. But before I sold it or I posted it like anywhere, like I ended up playing with it again. And that's like, so I turned it on, like started playing with it. And then I was like, it piqued my interest. I was like, oh yeah, like man, like I remember in high school, like I used to love this stuff. So I started YouTubing, right? Started YouTubing like how to shoot videos and like the basics of videography. Cause like, you know, I like if you don't use it, you lose it. So I'm like, okay, like how do I work this camera again? Like how do I edit and how do I do this? And it's just one thing led to another. I stopped watching TV like entirely and was spent like days and hours on like YouTube learning about cameras and editing and how to shoot and all of that. And yeah, that just snowballed from there.
Interesting. So you picked it up again as a hobby. Then what made that shift then where you're like, well, I like this as a hobby. Maybe I should do this. Maybe do some odd jobs here and there.
So I was just doing it for fun. You know, I started off doing it like in the fitness industry. So I was just like going to my gym and just shooting like the powerlifters in the gym, making like little quick hype edits, and people were like, "Oh, this is dope." And then I guess people like would see it and recommend me, and people like I guess like a trainer would be like, "Yo, like how much is it for a promo video?" I'm like I don't know, like $100. And like, yeah, let's do it. And then like then a promo video turned into like fashion video, and the fashion video turned into music video turned into weddings, and weddings turned into commercials and all that. So
that's amazing. So when you went into the gyms, like you were just doing it for fun, like you were doing it for free, you weren't charging anyone when you were doing the gyms.
Yeah, I was just doing it for fun. And then like when I realized like my first couple gigs I could make money off it, I was like, man, like I could actually monetize off this. So I started doing research, and I wasn't even thinking about weddings at the time. I was just like, you know, just doing it for fun, like doing like little like fitness promo videos for trainers and like a couple of music videos here and there. And then like someone was like, hey, like you should do like weddings. Like I think you do well in weddings. I'm like, I don't know one thing about wedding, like shooting like weddings. Like I know what goes on in a wedding. I've been to weddings, but I've never shot it. So then, you know, we hit up YouTube University again. You know, figure out how to shoot a wedding day, like behind the scenes, how to do the audio and all of that. So then I ended up posting an ad on Kijiji for like a low budget videographer, and someone hit me up and was like, hey, like I see your work. I know you haven't done a wedding before, but I think you're capable of shooting our wedding. Like we have like, you know, a small amount of budget left. Would you be down? I was like, yeah, you know. So I called the bride up, used my customer service skills, and she was just like, hey, you know, like the reason why we chose you is because like from the phone, like I can hear you smile through the phone, and everyone else was so monotone and robotic, and so like, yeah, this is a price, yada yada yada, straight to the point. Like you were so warm, you were very like very personable. And I was like, man, I was just excited that, you know, like you asked me to call you, and I was like, this would have been my first wedding video. And she's like, yeah, you know, this is the reason why like my fiance and I chose you, because you know, this is the way you handle yourself over the phone. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. I just want to pause and acknowledge the two gems that were just dropped there. Like number one is like, so you picked up the camera again, you did it as a hobby, and you just started doing it for fun. Like, I mean, you didn't necessarily do it for the money, you just didn't charge anyone. You just started making videos in the gym, and then all of a sudden, by you taking that action, that's the key thing, right? Because you went to YouTube University, you learned a bunch of skills, but then you took action and you went out and you started shooting videos. And by just taking that little step, it led to somebody asking you, how much do you charge for this? And that kind of led you down that path. That's the first gem, taking action. The second gem is like, man, how important is that whole, customer service? And like, I don't know, I don't know if people look down on customer service jobs or not, but man, like the skills that you get. And I think it just comes down to connecting with people. Like you've got this amazing ability to just connect with people, strangers, people that we just met on the street. Like, I mean, I lived with Eddie for a little bit. So, I mean, like we hung out a lot back when I lived in Toronto. And, like that was kind of the vibe, man. We just like get along with everybody, right?
Yeah. That's the saying, the more the merrier, right? So, like, what do you have to lose? Like, I remember, like, especially your growth, like moving to Toronto, you were shy and like your social skills were like a bit awkward. I was like, man, like, what do you got to lose? Like, if you talk to that person, you don't want to talk. It's either a yes or a no, right? Like, if someone wants to talk to you, they'll talk to you. If someone doesn't, it's a no. Like, move on to the next person, right? So it's like a lot of people put a lot of fear in themselves without even trying. Like, so everything in life is like 50-50, right? Like, do you want to play guitar? It's 50-50 because it's like you can't play it because you won't play it, or you will play it and learn it because you're going to practice and learn and get better over time, right? So it's that 50-50.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's kind of like if you don't go out and ask that person, for example, like the answer will always be no. But if you just take action and you just ask, it's either a yes or a no. Give yourself at least a little bit of a chance, right? So
exactly.
But thank you, and thank you for acknowledging my growth, because I'm still like growing. Like I was just this awkward. I guess I was in my early 20s at the time, but there is something like there's this fear of, what it is. I realized recently, it's like this fear of other people's opinions, and I still battle through that. I'm starting to overcome it now, which is why I'm able to do like more videos and stuff like that, because I'm starting to go overcome it. But like, man, like big challenge, and like it was a major challenge when I first moved to Toronto. But I gotta admit, like I lived there for what, 3 or 4 years. But when I moved back to Winnipeg, I moved back a different person. Like, man, that whole experience changed me, life changing.
For sure. Yeah, and it was awesome to see because like, and I could see like, just even our cousins, like Mike, man, like you're a different person. Like you changed since you got back from Toronto. Like you weren't shy, you were more outgoing, you're more personable. And I tell people that I'm like, just because you're shy now, like being personable and being social is a skill you can develop over time. You just gotta get comfortable with talking to people. Like just start off with one person, have a conversation. The next you know, you can have a conversation with two people at the same time and just have a conversation. Next you know, it's a group of people, right? So
yeah.
And that's kind of like what you did in Toronto. You just start off like, just us, and we add a next person, and like next like I could see you work a room by yourself, right? No problem. So.
Well, thank you, guys. And honestly, I wish I could go back in time and like, because the person that I am is much, much different. So I wish I could go back in time, the person that I am today, and just like relive those situations. What's that?
Those be memories if you were the way you were. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Everything happens for a reason, right? It all worked out the way it's meant to work out. It's funny because I found my health card the other day, and like, man, my hair was like, like as long as this when I moved out to Toronto. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I remember. Big Mike with the split long hair.
This is my COVID hair, man. Once I get vaccinated or they call this pandemic over, then I'm gonna go back to shaving my head. But this is my measurement for how long this pandemic is going on.
Oh man, it's crazy, man.
Anyway, so you get your first, going back a little bit, you get your first gig, working a wedding. Like, did you have like, what made you make that jump from, okay, now we're doing a little bit of these like gym videos? Like, what made you want to do like wedding videos?
I just wanted to try. For me, I like to try everything. It's almost like in the beginning, I was like, one of the fake it till you make it kind of thing. So like, I would like post my ad and be like, hey, I'm an affordable videographer. I'll do things for cheap just because I'm starting out and trying to build my portfolio. So people would be like, hey, have you done like a fashion video before? And I was like, yeah, I've done one, but like I have nothing to show for it. So then I would shoot a fashion video because they're like, oh, okay, that's cool, right? I would just literally fake it to make it.
Yeah.
Same with the wedding. I was like, hey, let me try like to see if weddings would be something I'd be interested in. And I was like, all right, cool. Like after the first wedding, I was hooked because like I made such an impression on the brides, like that couple and their family and friends, that like they watched my video. Like even though I look back at the video, it was okay, but at that time, for the tools I had and my skill set, they loved it. Like they came off the plane from their honeymoon. They're like, oh, like I saw your email, so we ended up unpacking the laptop from the luggage and watching the video, and like we were crying. And she's like, I can't stop watching the video. And so she called me in the car to thank me some more. And she was like, is it okay if we like e-transfer your tip? I was like, oh man, you don't have to, but sure, if you want to.
Yeah.
So like at that time, I was like, you know what, like this is kind of fulfilling for me because like I'm kind of like using my gift to kind of like create a story and like their romantic movie, like they can look back on like for years and years and years, right? Like even though like I know like a lot of couples don't watch your movies, like their highlight videos often, like they'll watch it like maybe on their anniversary, but a lot of people say like, oh, like we won't watch it, like we got a videographer and then like we won't watch it for like 20 years. But I've had couples that like they literally watch their video like every anniversary and even their raw videos, and they still hit me up like, hey, like we're watching your video and it's so jokes and it just brings back memories. So to me, it's just that fulfillingness,
Absolutely, and that is the beauty of what you do is like you capture the moment. Like so many times you want to go back to those memories, and like everybody's memory is different, right? Some people remember very well, some people don't remember very well, but when you can see it through like video and audio, like it just brings back all of those emotions, right?
Yeah, agreed. And that's what I tell a lot of couples. Like I try to meet with them and I say like, like what I offer is basically when you watch your video, it's like you're watching you were invited to your own wedding and you get to watch everything and see all the little details and all the little emotions that you didn't get to see during your day because you're busy getting married. And when you get married, it may be a 12, 14-hour day for a couple, but it goes by like that. And then like they hit me up and they say, thanks for capturing this because like I didn't have time to see this little detail or that little detail, or this was going on and you were able to capture it like while we were getting ready in the ensuite or whatever. So yeah, that's my job to try and capture all those moments in one day.
Yeah, and you do have this unique eye where you just like, I don't know, you capture things in the moment that like the common eye just wouldn't see. Like that's what I appreciate about your work is like it's just these like little things. Oh, there was like the conference that you shot when you came down to Winnipeg. There was this one where it was just like it was like this glass, like through the glass, and it was the what's called the poster of the event, and I was just like who thinks of that? Like it was just an amazing shot that you did. And it was just a poster, but and like a wine glass or something. I'm like, wow, this is just magic.
Yeah, thank you. That's like more my style. Like I like to kind of like look at different angles and perspectives. Because like, you can look at a poster, someone look at a poster, and it's just a poster at a table. But I'm like, how can I make that interesting and more pleasing to someone and be like, whoa, like that's my poster. Like it makes you appreciate your poster more as opposed to like it's just a flat lay on the table, right? So
absolutely. So man, so you do your first wedding gig. I assume it starts to snowball a little bit more. You get more gigs, assuming, right? Because you're still doing it. But what was like that? How long were you? What am I trying to ask here? Basically, how long did you do it as like a side gig until you realized like, hey man, I think I could do this full time? Like, what did that transition look like?
It was probably after a year and a bit. So maybe actually within a year. So like within a year, I was getting probably my first year I did like 10 weddings, and then like my first solid year of doing like weddings from January to December. I think I must have done like 50 something
in your first year.
Yeah, my first official season. So then I was like, man, like I was looking back at like how much like I made, and I was like, this is crazy because like I'm looking, and with weddings, a lot of people book like a year or two in advance. So like within that year, I was getting booked for the year after. So I was looking at the projections of like the year after. I was like, man, I'm slated to make like a good amount of money, where like or I'm making more than my 9 to 5. So at that time, I was like, okay, cool. Like I just kind of shoved it away. I was like, okay, cool. Like that's pretty good supplement income. Like we'll keep it like that. So then I started go to my 9 to 5, and I started to feel like I didn't feel motivated to work my 9 to 5. I would kind of slack off and all of that, and it's like, you're at your laptop and your desk, and you're like, man, this is not what I want to do. Like, this is, what am I doing? Like, like I just want to shoot now. I just want to film. Like, now that I know I can kind of like make a good living out of it. So yeah, I just for that latter part of the year, I just kept contemplating, like, should I keep doing this as supplement income? Because like, having these two, like I'm making 6 figures with those two, like 9 to 5 plus like shooting. But I was like, man, like I could just kind of like get rid of one, and like I don't really have to worry about like 9 to 5, and I can be my own boss. So I just kind of noodled that idea for many months, and then once I met this producer, and I asked him, I was like, hey man, like I'm thinking of like to like jump in and quitting my 9 to 5 and doing this like videography like full time. I'm like, I'm scared shitless, but like like is this a good thing? Like is this a good move? He goes, oh, you know what? Like you're too talented not to be busy. So like he's like, I would say go for it. And then after like maybe the week after, I put in my 2 weeks notice at my
9 to 5. That's awesome, man. So what do you think? Because man, like if I were to put myself back into the corporate world, like I probably would be like, man, how, like I want to do that. Whatever you did, like whatever your secret sauce was to transition from working 9 to 5 to doing what I love, like I want to do that. What would you say is like the key, like the key that unlocked everything for you? Like what do you think that was?
I think it was a passion. Like a passion. Like I was passionate about it in high school, and then it got suppressed because of the timing and all of that. And the passion grew and grew and grew a lot more the more I shot, right, and the more I created. So they say like, like turn your passion like into profit. So like once you're passionate about something, so you can be passionate about making like, I don't know, like knitting, and you make some dope ass like knit like stuff with like knitting, and people are buying it, and then it becomes popular like in your own vertical. Like that's your passion. Next thing you know, like shit, like I'm making money off like what I like to do. Mm-hmm. So like if your passion can grow more into profit, more than like where you can quit your 9 to 5 or whatever, like why not? So it's like they say passion brings the cash in. So like as long as you can market it and make bank off it, like man, why not, man?
That's another thing that you're great at, are those like one-liner rhymes. That those philosophical one-liner rhymes, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and I remember calling you or asking you for advice when I was like in that transition. Like I was like, yo, Mike, man, like how did you do it? Like you quit your 9 to 5 to do what you're coaching, because like for the first week I didn't know what to do with myself because I didn't have the routine of logging in and doing all that stuff, like. Because I was working from home at the time, so I was like, I didn't have no laptop, so like I don't have nothing to log on to. I have no boss to talk to, no coworkers. I'm like, what the hell? So it was like a lull, like in between. And you gave me some solid advice, So cool. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, it was just I remember you saying like, just get make your own routine. Like you don't have your work routine anymore, so then he's like, I remember you said like make your own routine. Like. Wake up and have a daily routine, and that's going to be your work routine, because you're not going to an office per se or have a boss per se. Like, so you have your daily routine and you work out or edit or whatever it is. Just create your routine, and then it'll start to feel like normal.
Whoever gave you that advice is a pretty wise person, because I resonate with that. No, that's awesome, man. Like, it's funny because nobody teaches you how to be your own boss, right? You can only be taught how to be a slave, really.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
And I apologize for my language, but I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, when you become an entrepreneur, you do have to create your own schedule. You do, like, and also you don't get the recognition. Like, there's no leader that's come to you and say, "Hey, great job," and patting you on the back, right? Nobody does that for you. You do it all yourself, right? So
it's tough to be your own boss because it's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of learning, like continuous learning, a lot of questioning yourself, but it's part of the process, right?
Mhm.
Just like anything else, like you're always going to learn, and in order to elevate, like you have to get to certain levels in order to get to the next level. So yeah, being my own boss was cool, but at the same time, like nobody sees the behind the scenes, which is like you have to learn bookkeeping, you have to learn how to get your own gigs, you have to learn marketing, you have to learn so many other things that comes with being your own boss. Like people see like all of my successes like on Instagram and social media is like, oh, you're doing such good things, but they don't see like all that hard work you put in, to get to that point.
100%. 100%. And that's a common story that I hear a lot with entrepreneurs. Like, people only see the success, but they don't see all of the hard work, all the late nights, all the weekends where you stayed home to work. Like people don't see that, right? They only see maybe what's posted on social media, or just like a small fraction of what you do.
Yeah, agreed. I mean that has to do with a lot of perception, right? Like you could look at Gary Vee and be like, man, like that guy just became overnight success, but it's like, no, man, he started off with a YouTube channel like doing wine, like that's like how he got his foot in the door, and then he just went from there. You know what I mean? So not a lot of people know that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, and speaking of like up and coming YouTuber, if you want to like follow a YouTuber that's up and coming, like, man, subscribe to MB Learning, because that channel's about to blow up. I promise you. I swear.
No, man, you have that last vlog or your first vlog, right? That one that you did was pretty good about like meditation. So I watched that. That was pretty dope.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Practice makes progress, man. Like, I look back at like the first, like I started. Well, actually, it was a 1 year anniversary after the conference that I created the YouTube channel, and then the video that you made was the first video that I posted. Anyway, that being said, like, that was the end of November 30th. Fast forward, like, honestly, I have zero experience making videos, zero experience editing videos, shooting videos, anything like that. And by no means am I like a pro. Like, I'm definitely not at your level, that's for sure. But enough to like make them. Honestly, I didn't envision myself to like make vlogs. Like, my original intent was, I'll just sit in front of camera and I'll talk, and that's it. And then after a couple of months, I'm like, oh man, I could do, I don't even know what they're called, like overlays or whatever. And like, I just started experimenting with things, and I'm just like, I think I'm getting the hang of this. So
No, I mean, no, it was great. To be honest, like your first vlog was really good. Like it was informative, and like a lot of people don't even look at like all the other little details. They just want information. You know, so if your information is good, like all that other stuff is just fluff, right?
Yeah.
It might look good to other people, but to the majority of the population, like they just want information. That information provided was good because, like, I used to meditate a lot, and like I used to do a lot of sleep meditation, and I kind of fell off it because I had like a couple out of body experiences that kind of like spooked me. I was like, holy, like. And like I know meditation is such a powerful thing, and Buddhist monks, like, they can do OBEs like no problem, and time travel and see the future and see the past and all of that. So, but I'm gonna slowly get back into meditation again.
Wow. See, wow. That is a direction that I did not expect this conversation to go. Admittedly, I had no idea that you even meditated before. Like,
yeah. I used to like, I'll do it from time to time, but I used to do it a lot. I start off with just sleep meditation, like just because like it was hard. It was hard for me to like calm my thoughts and just kind of like go to bed with like a clear mind. So I was like, okay, let me start like, like obviously there's a lot of meditation apps out there. So I started to get good at it to a point where like I would like literally like clear my head and knock out like within like seconds, because like I started to get used to like, the meditation and the cues and being in tune with like my mind and my body and all of that.
Yeah.
So as I got better, I thought I was dreaming, and like I came out. It felt like I was in a dream, so I came out of I got up out of my bed, walked towards the kitchen, but as I'm walking, like I turn around and I see the bed, and I see myself in the bed. I'm like, what the hell? But I could feel like I'm not just like normal. Like I felt like it was real. So when I realized, I put the connection together, like I felt like my body or my soul or whatever that was like sucked back in. I was just like, and I was like, whoa, that was crazy. And I was like, whoa, like, and I started reading up on it. It's like, yeah, like you had a OBE, like out of body experiences, which a lot of people get when they meditate, right? So.
Wow. I've been meditating for like 3 years. I've yet to experience that while meditating. I've experienced it once, but that's for another day. I'll share that story another day.
Yeah. So, which is dope. Like, I tried to get it again, and I get close to it, but not really. Maybe because like I'm scared of it because of that experience.
Yeah.
But like when I used to do a lot of like that float tank.
Yeah.
I would talk to the owner, and the owner's like, yeah, like if like once you get good at like being in the float tank and meditating in there, like it's easy for you to get like an OBE. Like he goes, like a lot of people like get OBEs without even knowing it. Like for example, like he would be like, like one time one lady came out of her session and she was like, hey, did you take care of that person on the phone that was like whatever, right? And he's like, yeah, like how did you know? He goes, oh, I saw you like talking to him on the phone. But then he didn't tell her because he's like she didn't realize that she was still in the flotation tank when she saw me. So that means she had an OBE, that the fact that she came out and saw that I was on the phone like dealing with a customer. So I was like, oh, that's nuts, man.
Jeez. Oh, and thanks for the reminder. It's been a while since I've been to a float tank, but man, those are awesome, man. But man, when I went, I didn't really meditate. Now that I've like meditated a little bit and I have that experience, like, oh man, I'd love to go back and try again. So have you done like have you gone often to those float tanks or?
I haven't been in months, just because of COVID. Like I'm sure if I call that place, like I would be able to get a session. Because I don't know if they're essential or not, but I'm sure it's by appointment only. But they're pretty good because they're out there in their own rooms. But I love it. It's better than a massage because it's true what they say. Like a massage, you feel good like after, but then it fades away real quick, like relax.
Yeah.
But with a flotation tank, like if you do it properly and you're able to clear your mind and shut off your brain, you feel more relaxed for longer, like for like a day or two, and you have like more, like a relaxed glow to yourself, like they call it that glow because you're so relaxed. So I asked Laura, like, why is that? He goes, because like when you shut off your brain, it shuts off everything else, which you can kind of like relax. Everything relaxes, right? As opposed to massage, you're still awake, you're still conscious, and you're still like you're taking the pain, so you're not really relaxed, right? So I was like, oh, so like every time I do it, I'm like, man, like I feel so much better. Like even like 2 days after, I'm like, I'm still relaxed,
Yeah. So what, like, curious, like what got you into meditating? Because again, like I had no idea that you did. Like I don't know, for some reason you don't necessarily seem the type for some reason. I don't know.
I think for me, it's just more like, I couldn't sleep, like it just took me a while to wind down. So I just started doing some research, and people are like, start off with like sleep meditation, like that's the best time because you're already like winding down, you're already lying down. So then, yeah, that's when I just started doing it. And then I started liking it because I fell asleep faster, my mind was clear, and like I wasn't waking up as frequently. So yeah, like that for me, I think like sleep meditation is probably the best way for me to meditate. I know a lot of people do it in the morning, or they'll do it like during a walk or whatever. Um, but I think my mind is better when it's like I'm more able to relax when I'm just lying down, getting ready for bed. And I can follow those cues. And then when if I fall asleep, I fall asleep, right? So.
Yeah, interesting. Because I'm usually a morning meditator. So was it during a sleep meditation where you had that OBE?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I wasn't sure if it happened right away or if I was already like in a different state and then it happened. But yeah, that was crazy. And like when I experienced that, I didn't know what it was until I did research. And people were like, "Yeah, that's an OBE, man. Like you had an OBE. Like it's common. Like you shouldn't be scared." But a lot of people say like like if you don't know how to control your OBE, like it's tough for you to get back.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Interesting. Let's put a pin in that, man. We will definitely have to do this again because, man, I want to dig into that some more for sure. But curious, just a couple more questions about around videography. But like, how did you know videography was it? Like, how did you know that? Like, that's the thing that I'm meant to do.
It was just a feeling, right? For me, like. It was a feeling from high school where I was like, man, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to get into this. And then when I wasn't able to do it, I was like, okay, cool. Like, whatever, I'll do something else. So when I picked up the camera and I started filming again, and I started getting better and doing more gigs and challenging myself and getting connections, that's when I was like, hey, maybe I'm meant to be here because, like, I wouldn't have thought I'd be like shooting for Team Canada in Belgium or for the Raptors or Toronto FC or the Argos or commercials or whatever, right? So like to me, it's like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to be here. This is what I want to do. It maybe wasn't supposed to happen back then, but I guess, now it happened. So like, let me take advantage of it and just YOLO and go full force and see where it'll take me, like, I don't know how long it's going to take me or where it'll take me, but it's taken me some rad places already. So
absolutely,
I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. And I love seeing the work that you do and everything like that. Because man, it's amazing work, and it's so cool to see the different types of projects that you get to do. Because it's a lot of them are like different. Like sometimes you're doing commercials, sometimes you're doing sporting events, sometimes you're doing like model shoots or weddings or whatever. Like it's just so wide ranging.
Yeah, and I was going back to like I try to shoot everything and anything because I don't want to put myself in a box where it's like, some people like to just to do weddings, but for me, like weddings is cool, but I want to shoot everything and anything. Like, my next goal is to try and shoot like a feature film, like that'd be cool one to have under my belt. And maybe do like a big screen film one day, like why not, right?
Anything is possible, man. If you can learn anything, you can do anything, right?
Exactly.
And you're learning it and you're doing it right now. I'm curious, man. Like, so what? Like, you're doing this videography thing. You're doing it full time, man. What's keeping you going?
What's keeping me going? I feel like I still have a shit ton to learn. I'm always a student, never a master.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I know people think I know stuff, but like, really, I don't know anything at all because like, I know people that are in a higher level, and they think the same thing. Like, they might think. I talk to people on Clubhouse, which we spoke about. I'm like, like they shot documentaries and films and all of that, and they'll come to me and be like, yo, like, I don't know how you shoot weddings. Like, I could never shoot a wedding. Like that shit's scary. And then like I'd be like, yo, well, like you shot like a documentary on friggin' sharks in Japan. Like that shit's scary, right? So it's like crazy to see that, like, like not everyone knows everything and anything. So like that's what keeps me going. It's like, I want to get to shoot a documentary one day or shoot a movie one day or and travel some more shooting stuff, right? So once things open up, like I know, like it'll get there again. But yeah, man, I just want to still grow. There's a lot of growth to happen.
Cool, man. Well, you've already done like a lot of amazing things, and I know you're gonna continue to grow. I've got some like rapid fire questions for you, and then we'll start to bring it home if that's cool with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we'll start you off easy with the rapid fire. So these are just like one word answers. The first one word that comes to mind. So, what's your favorite breakfast cereal?
Ooh, breakfast cereal?
Yeah.
I'd have to go with Lucky Charms.
Classic. It's a good one, man.
Yeah,
I just bought some. What's a hobby or interest that you have that not a lot of people know about?
That's an interesting one. Lately, I've been collecting like vintage cameras, so like not a lot of people know that.
Vintage cameras.
Yeah.
Nice, like with the film and all that stuff. Or?
Yeah, so like if you look behind me, I got this film camera right here. I got like this old like 8mm camcorder, like the dad cam,
Yeah.
like, like the home videos and stuff. So,
yeah.
Yeah, man, just bringing that shit back.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Are you doing like projects on it? Are you actually like shooting on it?
I want to. Like, so I spoke to a couple artists and they want that 90s vibe. So I was like, yo, I got like a 8mm camcorder. Like, let's do it up, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. Where's my questions here again? Okay, so what's a guilty pleasure when it comes to music? So whether it be a song or genre.
A guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Lately it'd be Justin Bieber.
Oh yeah, the Beeps. Yeah. Ain't no shame in that.
The Beeps. Yeah, because he makes good music. He's just underrated. Well, I guess, but like, yeah. He does make good music. I listen to his albums.
So overrated that he's underrated.
Exactly.
Awesome. Who's the third person that comes to mind when you think of someone who's successful?
The third person?
The third person, yeah. Because the first two are usually very surface level. I feel like the third person, that's the real person.
Does that have to be someone like that I look up to, or
anyone that you consider successful? Yeah.
Anyone that I consider successful. That's a tough question.
Well, who's your first one? We'll start there.
Like my first all-time successful person I look up to?
Yeah, who comes to mind? Yeah, when you think of successful.
Man, Michael Jordan.
Okay, that's fair. True. GOAT, right? GOAT. Okay, who's number two?
Jordan. Number two would be as an oldie but a goodie, like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Is one of mine.
Yeah.
And actually the third would be Kobe.
Yeah, fair, yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Yeah. Nice. And so what is it about Kobe that you consider in terms of success?
His work ethic is just like uncanny, like I read his biography. His work ethic and the way he chooses to work to get to the next level. Like, he has this one saying in the book where he says, like, I want to be the best and greatest, and in order for me to get there, I had to choose either losing sleep or like having a shitty relationship with my family, right? Like family time. So he didn't want to sacrifice family time and all of that, so he chose to sleep less and work more to get to that next level. And you hear those stories where he'd be at the gym like 2 a.m. like getting shots and getting a workout in. The trainers leave, they come back in the morning practice, and he'd be like, yo, did you get some sleep? He goes, yo, I never left, bro. Like, that's just crazy to me.
No, I know, and you almost think like those stories are fake, but man, they gotta be real.
Yeah. It's just crazy because who on earth would do that? It's like, that's just like, you have to want something that bad to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's Mamba mentality, and there is something about it, man. Like that is, he is probably the first person that comes to mind when I think of somebody who is very mentally strong. Like, he is the guy.
Yeah, and it's one of those things we kind of like forget or kind of lose, because like a lot of people nowadays aren't mentally tough, because like they quit easily, right? Because they have to work hard at it, and it's like, who cares if you have to work hard? That's part of the journey, like you even failures are part of the journey. Like, you have to just keep getting up, like Allen Iverson, like fall 9 times, get up 10 times. So
absolutely. I always say that failure is a big part of success. Like, it's a part of it. Like, you can't separate the two. You're going to experience failure a lot more times than you're going to experience success. So get used to it. And not to say that, hey, fail every time. It's just normalize it, I think, is probably the key message, right?
That's it, man. Fail fast, fail forward, success faster, man.
Hey, there we go, man. See, you with your philosophical rhymes, man. Yo, okay. So who's your go-to person when it comes to personal development?
My go-to person in terms of I don't think I have a personal, like someone that I go to for. Like, I also just go to like books or podcasts or kind of things.
Yeah, it could be that too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what would you say though? Is there like a particular book or podcast or article that you read? What's your go-to?
It's more so like if I want to learn negotiating skill or more like negotiating skills. I'll look for books on negotiation, things like that. So if I want to learn how to market better, I'll look at marketing books or marketing material or videos to kind of get insight on how to get better. I'll even use Clubhouse as a tool because like a lot of people have a lot of good stuff that like I've never even like thought about before. So like Clubhouse is a good resource to kind of get free advice from people.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Like, and I apologize because we've been trying to set up time to do this test, but I've been going down the Clubhouse rabbit hole all week, so I apologize.
Yeah, that's all good, man. I hope you got some wicked gems from them.
I got a couple, man, and I made a really good connection. Actually, I connected with another. I guess you could say he's a coach, but just earlier today, and man, I just had an amazing conversation with him. It's so weird, man. It's so like, how often do you meet someone for the first time and you just feel like telling them your whole life story? Like that's the type of conversation that it was. It was just
that's amazing.
Yeah. But anyway, okay. So one of the last questions, and this one I borrowed from Tim Ferriss, who is, I would say, the best podcaster of all time. And if Tim Ferriss, if you're listening to this, if for whatever reason, please either be a guest, please be a guest on my show, or please invite me to be a guest on your show, because that's a dream of mine. It literally is written in my book. Okay, so the question is, if you had access to a billboard and you could put it anywhere in the world, what would you write on that billboard? What message would you put on it?
Where would I put it, and what message would I put on the billboard? I would put it probably in California and LA.
Okay.
Just because there's a lot of population there.
Yeah.
And it's going to be either one of two things. Follow your dreams or do you. That's it.
I love it, man. I love it.
Because a lot of people, the only reason why is like a lot of people, and I see it like more and more, a lot of people are stuck in this like cycle where it's like you have to do everything. You have to figure out what you want to be by 18. You got to get married and have kids and by this age, and you have to have a big house with a white picket fence. It's like, no, man. Like I see people that are happy with less, and they're following their passion. And when I found out that I didn't need to work a crazy corporate job and like my happiness was worth more than like any amount of salary, that's when I knew like what happiness was. Because like no amount of happiness, no amount of money can buy like happiness. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Happiness is something that's generated on the inside, man. There's nothing in this external world that can truly make you happy. Happiness comes from the inside out. 100%.
Exactly.
Wow, that's awesome, man. And that's such a great message to end on. Man, if people want to book you for your services, how can people reach you?
They can reach me on Instagram at eddie.cam, or they can email me at info@eddiecrispo.com.
Cool.
Yeah, .com.
Website? Do you have a website?
Yeah, you can go to eccinematic.com, or you go to eddiecrispovideography.com as well.
Nice.
Okay, hit me up through Mike.
Hey, there we go. Awesome, man. I'll put the links in the description wherever I'll repost it on YouTube for sure. But if I do it on Instagram or Facebook as well, I'll make sure to put the links on there. But man, thank you, Eddie. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Again, my name is Michael Sgarra, founder of MB Learning. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. And remember, if you can learn anything, you can do anything, and Eddie is living proof of that. So, man, thank you again, Eddie. We definitely have to do this again sometime. But thank you again for your time, man.
For sure, for sure. Thanks for having me. That was your first podcast. Thanks for everyone who tuned in and watched. And yeah, man, Mike's growing. He's gonna be a force to reckon with in a few years, man. Just wait, just wait.
Thank you, thank you. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.
All right, peace.